Hello, guys, and welcome back to the NW Sportscast. Today, we are back with NFL Power Rankings straight off of a crazy Monday Night Football upset, especially an upset when you take into account Zach Wilson gets the job done for Aaron Rodgers. But let's get it into it. NFL Power Rankings, here we go. Number 32, and this is the tier, the Caleb tier that I'm sure we'll have all year long. I got the Cardinals, and at number 31, I got the Texans. The Cardinals, they lose close, but they do lose to the Commanders, another really bad team. And the Texans, they get destroyed by the Ravens. Levi, what do you think?
I agree. Look, a lot of my predictions are already looking like they're bad, but one thing that I think we both agreed on, these are the two worst teams in the NFL. I said these are the two worst teams last week. I like that you moved the Falcons out of this tier. I would have done it as well. I mean, the Cardinals, that might have been their best chance to get a win until like week 11, and they blew it. They blew it in the end, and now they're probably not going to win again until very late in the season, if ever. And the Texans, I mean, they were playing a Ravens team that didn't look all that good. And like Lamar Jackson fumbled 3 times and the Texans still got blown out. So,
Yep,
yeah.
not good. All right, next we got minus 101 point differential. These six teams combined had a negative 101 point differential in week one. God awful. We do have a winner in this six teams, though. It's the Commanders, but they beat the Cardinals. So I don't want to overreact to that. I still think they're a pretty bad football team. Their defense is not bad, though. However, at number 30, we got the Panthers. Bryce Young only puts up 10 points against a bad Falcons defense. Then at number 29, we have the Colts. Anthony Richardson. It looks like he might be a quarterback that the Colts can move forward with, but he's young, week one, and the defense doesn't look great. Number 28, we have the football team and the Commanders. And then number 27, we have the Steelers, who Levi had a lot higher. He keeps going, oh, they always have a winning record.
They do.
No,
They do always have a winning record.
number
That's
28,
true.
nothing looked good. Um, yeah, just no, like there's a lot of hype going into the season for the Steelers and Kenny Pickett, a lot of hype going with him, and just doesn't happen week one. And then the Giants, maybe the most disappointing game of the whole week one. The Giants lose close. Psych. They lose by 40 to the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. America is watching and just a
Did
terrible
anybody did
display.
anybody actually watch that game past the first quarter? Like,
I don't know. I was at the
honest question.
gym.
Tune in the comments. I didn't make it past when it was 15-0. I was already tuned out. Comment down below. Did anybody make it past the first quarter of that game?
A terrible display of football.
Awful.
Awful. And then what is this? Number 27? The Bears. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, Levi, but the Bears,
Think that's
um,
25, actually. You got
25.
30, 29, 28, 27, 26,
Yeah, yeah,
25.
25, 25. 25 overall. We got the Bears. They lose by 18 to the Packers with Jordan Love. This is not the Aaron Rodgers Packers we all know, folks. This team is not that good. The Packers and the Bears lost by 18. Justin Fields puts up 20. He doesn't look great. I was never high on the Bears, nor was Levi. I think this is an appropriate tier for them to be in.
Yeah, the Bears are the one team in this tier that I look at and I truly am worried because, I mean, the Commanders, we knew they were going to be bad. The Panthers, I think it's going to take a while to get Bryce Young adjusted. The Colts, same thing. Richardson, I think Richardson looked a lot better than I thought maybe he would. He looks like he could be a Rookie of the Year candidate, but the Colts are still not a good roster. And then the Giants and Steelers, I'm not super worried about them yet, just because they both got blown out, but they both played against they played against the two best teams in the NFC. The Bears, however, I am honestly worried about the future. I mean, Jordan Love just whooped the Bears.
The
So
defense, which
the
was their cornerstone,
terrible.
that's what they were known for a long time.
Yeah. So if I'm a Bears fan, like I'm honestly like thinking like maybe we need to tank for Caleb too, because the Justin Fields. I mean, but the problem is again, Fields, bad
They're
receiver,
sticking with
bad
Fields.
O
They're
line.
sticking with Fields for another
It's the
year.
same story every year. Bad coach, bad defense, bad O line. There's nothing he can do.
They're sticking with Fields for another year, even if they have the number one draft pick for some weird reason. They're not drafting Caleb.
But again, how do you can't lose a division again? And right now they're on pace to lose the division again. But let's move on.
Next up, we got needs a new quarterback to compete. We have the Titans, number 24, Falcons 23, Bucks 22,
Denver.
Patriots 21. And I put Russell Wilson and the Broncos in the needs a new quarterback to
Wow,
compete.
that might be a little overreaction.
But is it an overreaction? Broncos put
Oh,
up 16
Russ
points
Russ
against the
played
Raiders.
Russ played well. He 2 touchdown passes, 17 for 24.
That's the stat line.
He was efficient. He moved the ball well.
Russell Wilson
If
goes
they were,
once.
they were
Russell Wilson goes 27 for 34, 177, two
touchdowns.
touchdowns, no interceptions. Puts up 16 points though.
They were a PAT, a missed PAT away from going to overtime.
With a Raiders team that I don't think is that good.
Well, a Raiders team that I do think is good. So
17
there you
points
go.
against the Raiders. I think Russell Wilson might be over the hill, folks. Clearly Sean
He
Payton
doesn't
doesn't
have
trust
any
him
good
to throw
weapons.
the Sean Payton doesn't trust him to throw the deep ball. Only 177 yards on 27 completions. I don't know what that is. The run after catch on some of these receivers clearly not great. You have a running
He
back who
has
led your
no
team.
real weapons.
You
Jerry
you have
Judy's
a running
out.
back that led your team in yards in Perrine, and then you have Cortland Sutton with 4 receptions for 30 yards, and then obviously Jerry Judy was out this week, but
And
we'll
did
see what happens with them.
correct
But
me if
let's
I'm
go
wrong,
over quickly
did
the
Tim Patrick
Titans.
play?
What?
Did Tim Patrick play either?
I don't
I don't
know.
think he did. So I mean, he has very limited weapons. I think Russell will
Yeah.
be okay, but let's go on.
So Titans lose by 1 to the Saints. Falcons beat the Panthers by 14, but it's the Panthers. But I will say the Falcons I thought looked pretty good. And then the Bucks, they beat the Vikings by 3, but that was a lot because of what the Vikings did and not what the Bucks did, in my opinion. And then the Patriots, it's time for Bill Belichick to not be a fraudster. Prove to me this year that you can do it without Tom Brady, because you haven't proved it to me these last couple years. It's go time. No more excuses for Bill Belichick. This is the year. This is the year for Bill Belichick to prove he can do it without Tom Brady. I understand he has Mac Jones at the helm. I understand there isn't as many. They don't have that many good weapons right now, but that's also on Bill Belichick as the GM. Can't. It's just a lot. It's time for Bill Belichick to prove to me he's the greatest football coach of all time this year.
Well, that's very true. I don't think if you watch my head coach rankings, I don't think he's the best anymore. I think Andy Reid has surpassed him at the moment.
I
Uh,
agree.
quick comment on the Titans, man. I watched a lot of that game because I had a Saints fan in the dorm. That was ugly for Ryan Tannehill. I mean, the Titans were in the game the entire time, but they only could kick 5 field goals, and Tannehill threw 3 picks. So that was ugly showing from Tannehill.
Needs a new quarterback to compete.
I agree. And they have two young quarterbacks sitting on the bench. So,
Yeah, yeah.
when
Look,
when when do you pull
who
the
are the two?
well,
Willis.
it's they have Will Levis, who they took in the second or third round
Yeah, yeah.
to be the first overall pick, remember? And then
Mhm.
Malik Willis, who I think went 1-2 last year, and then got injured. So,
Yeah,
they have
both
two
better
young
options.
talents.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'd say better, but they could be better if you
I think they're better options for the franchise this year.
yeah, you need to know what you're getting.
This
Oh,
is
come on. No,
this is pushed out of the
how
playoffs.
could the Rams be pushed out? They just won.
Pushed out of the playoffs because this is 15 through 19 here. So they just missed the playoffs. We have the Saints,
Oh my
we
gosh.
have
This is
the
ridiculous.
Vikings, we have the Raiders, the Seahawks, and the Rams. Let's talk about each team. The Saints, they win barely against the Titans. Derek Carr
Oh,
looked pretty good. Again, you watched that game a lot, Levi, so you can comment more about it on me.
Derek Carr looked good. Michael Thomas was playing. I think the Saints are making the playoffs. They're winning the division.
Yeah.
You
We have a
agree?
guest appearance of Shane at Syracuse here.
What's up?
Shane, I'm making my power rankings with my good friend Levi.
Let's go, Levi.
What's
We
up?
have the Saints, Vikings, Raiders, Seahawks, and the Rams. They just missed the playoffs. What do you think about this?
Well, my foot off Eagles play the Minnesota Vikings this Thursday night on primetime football. Pretty confident going into that one. The one team I'd look out for, though, is your Seahawks crew. I think, coming back from a playoff appearance last season, I think they might have even improved. You look at the division, it's tough, but, obviously with that extra wild card spot now, I think the Seahawks could push for that last playoff position in the NFC.
Thank you, Shane. Thank you.
We'll see about the Saints. Obviously, they've got Derek Carr now, who looked decently okay in that game on Sunday. But the team I would say was most likely to make it out of the playoffs, make it to the playoffs out of all those teams with that slideshow would be the Raiders. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is the best quarterback out of all, 5 of those teams. I know he gets a lot of slack, but, this is a guy who did make it to a Super Bowl not too long ago with that 49ers squad. And also, I think that Raiders have a lot of talent around him. Josh Jacobs is a very good running back. I think he led the really good rushing last season as well. So,
yeah, no, I think I have Matthew Stafford over him probably, but other than that, I'd probably take Garoppolo. I would take Geno Smith at the start of the year, but he just looked really bad. Levi,
really bad.
What do you think about this?
I'm going to tell you this, Drew. 4 out of these 5 teams, I'm going to tell you why 4 of these 5 teams will make the playoffs, okay?
Oh, my goodness.
The Saints clearly look the best team in their division, so they're going to win the South. Even if they only win 8 or 9 games, they're going to make the playoffs. The Raiders, I agree with Shane. A lot of talent on this team, and Jimmy G, 75% of wins, and he proves it again in his first game with Josh McDaniels. What do? They beat the Denver Broncos in Denver. That's a really hard place to play in September with the altitude, but they went in there and made it look easy. The Seahawks, I'm not going to back off my team just yet. Again, a lot of young talent.
We're a borderline playoff team.
We were missing 2 tackles in the second half. And yes, Geno looked terrible, but he was under constant pressure.
He put up 13 points.
The Rams,
13.
anything. And remember, I did say I was the only one who said the Rams was going to make the playoffs this year. And that game where they just crushed the Seahawks, that only proved to me the Rams are good enough. The Rams, they look like a team that's going to win a Super Bowl like they did 2 years ago. Aaron Donald playing amazing, Matthew Stafford looking like an MVP, and Sean McVay still a great coach. The one team I agree with, the Vikings, they've been pushed out of the playoffs because when you lose to Baker Mayfield at home, you're out of the playoffs. So, and I think the Vikings are out. But the other 4 teams, I still have confidence in.
Can I say one thing before I make a illustrious exit from the podcast? I'm sorry I barged in here.
No, it's all
Late
good.
night talk. Give me. I know. I'm not a betting man, but give me Eagles to absolutely demolish the Vikings on Thursday Night Football and cover that 7-point spread.
All right.
At the link.
I'll take that.
It's going to be rocking.
Give me a score prediction.
Give me 31-14 Eagles on Thursday night.
This is Shane, everybody. He's got an F1 podcast. You want to plug your podcast really quick?
I mean, if you're asking, I will. I mean, it's called The Starting Grid. You can find it on all podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. It's the teenage spin on Formula One, the most popular sport in Europe and arguably globally. It's going to be one of these next couple of years, and it's reaching heights of NHL, MLB wise in America now with 3 races in the States. So we kind of give you a unique view on Formula One come from teenagers. My co-host and I roam. So looking forward to growing that podcast even more, but always a pleasure to talk NFL and always a pleasure to talk with you, Julie.
All right, cool. Thanks, Shane.
Sorry, before barging in there.
Good to have you on. And I will second that pick. The Eagles to crush the Vikings. I'm all on that.
Have a nice night.
All right, what do we got next? We've got the wild card Warriors. So, okay, no, I did mess up here. I meant to put the Rams in wild card Warriors. So
Can I quickly pause you, Drew? Julio Rodriguez just hit a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 10th. After the Angels hit a 2-run home run in the top of the 10th. So
wow.
the Angels are tied 5-5 right now. So we'll keep you guys updated on that.
Yeah, geez, we got to get through this so we can watch this game. It's 12:30 in Syracuse right now, and the Mariners are still playing. So I genuinely forgot the Mariners were playing, to be honest. Okay, I'm gonna go quick. The Rams, I actually do have a that's on me. I do have them as a wild card team here.
Okay, I like that better. I like that better.
Yeah, and then I got the Bills, Jets, and then I got Ravens, and I got the Browns. And I think the Bills I would have a lot higher, except for after tonight. That was a terrible showing by Josh Allen. Absolutely awful, horrendous. The defense did look good, but it was against Zach Wilson for most of the game. Josh Allen ends up turning the ball over 4 times, 3 picks to the same safety cornerback.
Allen played awful.
Yeah, terrible. He said in a post-game interview, what is it? He said same shit, different, or same shit, same place, or something like that. Same, whatever, because he played really bad against the Jets last time he played against them. And then you have the Ravens, who I like. Lamar Jackson took a little bit to get going there, but then once he did, they ended up winning quite handedly. And then the Browns, Deshaun Watson, I don't think played that well, and they still got the job done. Browns defense might be the best in the league, arguably held the Bengals to 3 points. Joe Burrow puts up, what is it, under 100 passing yards, 82 yards to Joe Burrow. Some have Joe Burrow being the second best quarterback.
It was a complete storm, but still, yeah.
82 yards, 3. How did the Browns put up 24 then?
Hey, I'm glad you're on.
How did the Browns put up 24 in the
glad you're on the Browns now, because I told you last week. I said the Browns are going to be a playoff team, and you laughed.
Well, they took down the Bengals by 21.
They did,
and Deshaun Watson, because I watched Red Zone, but Deshaun Watson, from what I could tell, didn't even look that good.
He wasn't making flashy plays.
One interception, 16 for 29 with 154. Nick Chubb, arguably the most consistent running back. 18 carries for 106 yards. What is this? His 4th year in a row of doing this type of stuff. Great stuff by the Browns. The Bills, I think they'll be all right. They just got to figure it out. The Jets I would put higher, but they did lose Aaron Rodgers, which will hurt them. A marquee win against the Bills would have leaped them into maybe my top 5, but they do lose their starting quarterback. So I think you can probably agree with that one, Levi. And then, so I went over these 5 teams. Levi, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, with the Jets, I had them at number 3 last week. Obviously, I was very bullish on the Jets. And tonight they proved that they are, I think, a top 5 roster in the NFL. The problem is, it all depends on if Aaron Rodgers can come back and play, because realistically with Zach Wilson, the best they can get is a wild card. So then they would have to drop quite a few spots in my rankings despite the win. There is one thing I disagree with on this tier, but we'll get to that on the next slide so I can hopefully prove my point. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. So we'll see. I want to hear what you have to say first. And also, Chiefs being here is crazy. Just gonna say that.
Stumble into the Super Bowl ? These are teams that could find themselves in the Super Bowl, and I wouldn't be
not the Chargers.
I would not be shocked. I'm high in the Chargers. I've been high in the Chargers. Last week, Levi had them just tremendously low.
That defense is not getting them anywhere close to the Super Bowl.
It's my turn to talk, Skip. It's my turn to talk. So we got the Jaguars. I like T-Law. I like some of the receivers. You know, Evan Ingram. You got Christian Kirk, who had a bad game. I think he has a higher ceiling than what he showed. And then I'm blanking. Who they get from the Falcons?
Calvin Ridley, who was incredible.
Yeah, he had a great game.
Their number 1 receiver.
Yeah, and then the Chargers. You're gonna see where I have the Dolphins, but there's a reason why I have this team this high. And then you got
same for me.
I think Justin Herbert's a top 5 quarterback in the league. And then you got
the 6, so you're not off.
Lions. They take down the Chiefs. I watched the game. I think they could have played better and they beat the Chiefs. So there you go. They did get kind of blessed with Kadarius Toney playing really poorly, leading to a pick 6. Arguably, that was the difference in the game. And then you got the Bengals. You know, I gotta put faith in Joe Burrow still being able to find a way to get to the Super Bowl this year. That's why I have them stumbling to the Super Bowl. But they looked bad. They put up 3 points. If it was in a rainstorm, thunderstorm, they let the Browns put up 24 points. So whatever way you look at it, it's kind of, the Browns had 106 rushing yards and they put up 24 points. I don't know. The Bengals defense didn't look great and their offense looked terrible. Then you have the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, best quarterback in the league. That's why I have him being able to stumble into a Super Bowl, but he has no weapons. Travis Kelce will be back soon, which will help tremendously. The defense is still a pretty good defense, and you still have Andy Reid, which is why I have him stumble to the Super Bowl. I have him at the very top of the tier, but they did go 0-1 in week 1, so I have to put them here.
Yeah, okay. So in this tier, there's 3 I agree with. I like the Lions and Jags here. I think the Jags should be even higher. I like the Bengals here. What's my rule, Drew? Maybe you don't know this yet. My rule: don't overreact to one time. That applies to one good season. That applies to one good game. It also applies to one bad game. So the Bengals, one bad game, I'm not going to overreact. I still agree. I still think they're better than the Browns. I would still keep them in this tier because I do think the Bengals are still a Super Bowl team. And with that being said, I'm going to now prove 2 points in once. First off, like I said, I agree with the Bengals being here. By the same logic, where are the Bills? The Bills played a bad game, but are they not still considered the cream of the AFC?
I think the Bengals are a better team than the Bills.
Well, unfortunately, we didn't get to see it play out last season, obviously, with the injury. But
I believe in Joe Burrow more than I believe in Josh Allen.
I believe in Josh Allen more than Joe Burrow. I guess that's the difference. But even still, if one team was competitive and went to overtime,
They lost Zach Wilson.
The other, they lost to one of the best defenses in the league. The other team scored 3 points and got a total of 82 passing yards. I mean, like I said, I do think the Bengals should be in this tier, but I think the Bills should be in this tier right there with them. And then again, speaking of not overreacting, the Chiefs shouldn't be no lower than number 2. I will stand by that. Even when I'm going to make a bold prediction, I think the Chiefs will lose next week to the Jaguars. And even when they do, I will keep the Chiefs at number 2 because I think the Chiefs are just the best team in the NFL right now. And you can't convince me otherwise.
The Chiefs are a really, really good team, and I still think they can make the Super Bowl, hence why they're in this tier. But you can't tell me that they look good against the Detroit Lions, who are by no means.
It was a bad game, but don't overreact. It's week 1.
I have them. I don't know what number this is, but they're well into my top.
I think this is your 5th or maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah, well into my top 10. They're still a good team, but I mean, Patrick Mahomes didn't have a great game. I know Kadarius Toney played bad, and I know he has no weapons, but we don't give excuses to players, to other quarterbacks when they don't have any weapons. We do for Patrick Mahomes. I still think he's the best quarterback in the league, but let's go to the next tier.
Yeah, I guess this is where we fundamentally have always had this disagreement. I believe power rankings is who has the best chance of winning a Super Bowl. You believe power rankings is who is the best right now. They're both valid things to believe.
Yeah, I just think like where you are like respectively at this point in the season is where you should be in the power rankings. But I see what you mean too.
So moving on, we got looking at Lombardi. Okay, this is fair based on how they played this week.
Yeah. So I got
me though. How where's the Cowboys? What are the Cowboys doing here? Just off of track record.
Okay, they won. They've had good seasons these last few years. Dak Prescott looked really, really good against a Giants defense that isn't that bad. And that was my number one concern was Dak Prescott. He put up 40, Tony Pollard, CeeDee Lamb, they have good weapons. Their defense is elite. One of the best defenses in the NFL. They looked good. I think they deserve to be here right now. And then you got the Dolphins, who Levi had just way too low.
And I still do
that. I was shocked when he put the Dolphins in. outside looking in or whatever category had them in.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
I
beat
think
the
I put them in quarterback questions actually.
okay. And they beat the Chargers 36-34 in one of the best games this week.
Played a great game. That was Tyreek Hill was amazing. Oh
Tua put damn near 500 yards up, goes 28 for 45 for 466 with 3 tutties, and does have 1 pick. But really, looked really good. Tyreek Hill put up 215 with 2 touchdowns, 11 receptions. Some would say he's the best wide receiver in the league right now. And I wouldn't blame you. Personally, I still think Justin Jefferson might be, but he's a really solid player. It's crazy how much each player in Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill has shown they're just really good. Like they don't need each other to be really good. They just are really good. It was kind of like
it was
people were
unfair to the rest of the league.
people were expecting Patrick Mahomes or Tyreek Hill almost to kind of fall off once one left the other, kind of like a Bill Belichick, Tom Brady situation. And they're both still arguably the best at their position. I will say one thing is they could not get the running game going. 37 yards off 10 carries for Raheem Mostert. They put up less than 70 yards rushing combined. I think they got to work that in more. I think the defenses will play that week too if they don't use Raheem Mostert more. But we'll see what happens there. And then the Eagles. Eagles obviously made the Super Bowl last year. Jalen Hurts, they looked okay, nothing crazy, but Bill Belichick still really good coach, drew up a good game plan, and they put up 25. So, the Patriots are not a bad team by any means, and they beat them in a hard week 1, but they made the Super Bowl last year. I think you got to put them here.
Yeah, there's not much I can argue with against this tier, even if I necessarily may not agree with it. All 3 of these teams, these are probably the 3 best teams as far as just like how their wins went. Well, 2 of them, 2 of the 3 best, the Dolphins and Cowboys. Eagles, struggled in the second half. But here's a question: I'm going to pose this to you because I'm not honestly sure what I think about this. Cowboys, Eagles, who's winning the East? Who's better?
It's tough. It really is tough. I'm gonna put the Eagles just because I have them higher in my power rankings right now, just because I like Jalen Hurts more than Dak Prescott.
Okay.
And then the Finns are my AFC team.
So you would say right now you're gonna pick the Dolphins to make the Super Bowl.
No. I don't. This is not my Super Bowl prediction. I think they're the best AFC team right
You
now.
think right now they're the best AFC team, but you would still think that the Chiefs or Bengals have better odds to make the Super Bowl.
I would say the Chiefs do, Bengals do not. I think the Finns are second place. Yeah, I do.
Okay. Well, we're running out of time, so I guess we have to go on to the. Oh, okay. Honestly, no problem with this one.
Brock Purdy season.
I agree.
They're the best team in the NFL. Brock Purdy's my only concern, and he looked pretty good. So there you go. They're my number 1 team. Levi.
They dominated a good Steelers team in Pittsburgh. I'm scared of the 49ers this year. I have to tell you. But look, there's not a whole. We agreed on some, we disagreed on some, but we end up what counts. We agree on number 1, and we agree on 31 and 32.
Yeah,
And my guess is that as the season goes on, once things start to shake out, our power rankings will become more similar because I think a lot of this is still projection from both of us, maybe more so from me, but.
Yeah, well, no.
The Mariners just 6-5 Angels now.
Top
So
11. One out.
So maybe I'll have to react to that game. But for now, that's going to do it for this one. Drew, any closing words?
No, yeah, keep watching the videos, guys. Appreciate all the support. Like down below just shows the YouTube algorithm that you like the video. And if you're all the way here at the end of the video, clearly you like it a little bit. It would help us out a lot. If you could leave a comment, that'd be great. Tell us what you think. And that's it. Sign off for now. Yeah, go Seahawks. Hopefully they rebound. And the Mariners, hopefully they can figure out a way to get it done here against a struggling Angels team when they're going for the playoffs.
Yep. Couldn't say any better. All right. Till the next one.